It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 29th day of August. Coming to you from a rather rainy, wet Forest, Virginia, in the central part of Virginia, right outside Lynchburg, as subtropical Laura has reached Virginia. That which doesn't mean much. Don't get all upset, folks. We're had light to moderate rain here so far. Not much of anything, except it's wet and rainy. Not much wind. So it's it could get worse. This is going to go on for a little while longer today. But the way I'm looking at the maps, by mid-afternoon today, it's going to be on out of here. Now, over along the 95 corridor from Richmond north, and basically this goes straight up 95. That looks like it could be, you could have almost like that straight line derecho type thing of heavy stuff. But I'm thinking here this is pretty much done. So that takes care of that end of it. We've got a couple other things in the weather to look at, but we'll get back to that in a second. So it's been a busy week here for me. This is so far this week, this is my 7th show. I have one more. I've got the cocktail party tonight, and then, of course, the Sunday show from London tomorrow. Busy week, a lot of time, a lot of hours invested in getting all this stuff done and ready and copywritten and all that business. And my voice is starting to go too. So, I've been running my mouth a lot this week. So I will be glad when I get through the show tomorrow and have a day off. I don't have a schedule yet on the new Cruise Amigos live from Virginia efforts next week. But it's not going to be 4 like I did this week. I'm going to come up with a little better schedule on that. But we've got several people, got several invitations out, so we'll see who happens to pop up. Anyway, it has been a busy week. Now, tomorrow, the Sunday show on the Cruise Amigos live from London. The guest will be Ernest Marchand, who is a former star of Starlight Express. He performed that in Vegas and in Europe and all over the place. He had 2 leading roles in that, and he is currently a cruise director on Azamara Cruise Line. So an actor and a cruise director has 2 hats. He lives in Vegas. Of course, he's not cruising right now because of the layoffs and so forth. So he's like we are, stuck and wanting to get back on a boat. So anyway, it should be an interesting show tomorrow. So that's at 3:00 our time, 8:00 London time. And before I pop over, let's say hello to everybody. Gretchen's here. Good morning, Gretchen. Tom Henry. I was on the roof of the hotel all alone watching the launch. Could see the pad from my viewpoint. I have pics to post. Awesome. On TWB Facebook. Okay, good to hear that, Tom. We'll go over and check that out. Sonny's with us. Amy's here. Jason's here. Wow, got a full group this morning. Good to see all you guys. So, all right. Weather-wise, Laura is pretty much done. It's going to be on out to sea by tomorrow. Again, later on today, up the 95 corridor, y'all could get some dicey weather left. And of course, then everything now is cleanup, rescue operations, and search and rescue, and all that kind of stuff through the Louisiana mostly. So yeah, it was a doozy. Now, looking ahead, we still got a couple things sort of to watch. If you notice on the map, there are two systems that are currently active in the Atlantic. The one that's closest to Africa, they're saying a 40% chance of formation over the next 5 days. It's a wave over eastern Atlantic Ocean, just southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. It's expected to move very slowly for the next several days, and some development possible next week. So very little chance of it expanding for the next 5 days, but then it could. The other one that's over closer to off the coast of South America, is a tropical wave located about 550 miles east of the Windward Islands. It's producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Some gradual development of this system is possible. It's moving about 15 miles an hour as it heads toward the Lesser Antilles. 20% chance of formation over the next 48 hours, 30% chance on the 5 days beyond that. So the other system is, we're down to one off the on the Pacific Basin, and that is Oneil. Oneil is, as of the last update, is 45 miles an hour, minimum central pressure 1,001 millibars, and that's been holding fairly steady. It's moving north-northeast at 7 miles an hour, where it was one time thought that this would brush Baja and Cabo. It's going to be a little further out to sea, and it's just going to kind of move in a parallel to the Baja, but on out to sea quite a bit, and just kind of bend around to the west as it gets into the next trough of airflow, and just waste away to nothing. So not expecting land interaction with this one. So that's by far the best news we've had on the weather front now for a couple weeks. Couple things to watch, but at least it's looking a little better right at the moment. Now, some of you are saying, "Well, I'm getting tired of you talking about weather all the time." But believe me, I'm tired of talking about it. We're not to the middle of the season yet. We're still a couple weeks away before you really get to the mid-hurricane season, which is the highlight. So we got a lot of storms probably we're going to have to talk about between now and then, because they just don't seem to be letting up, and we're way ahead of all the records on the earliest L and the earliest M and all that kind of stuff, which I don't pay much attention to that, but still, it's just really bad season. Even though we had this one was bad, and that's the first bad one we've had. I mean, all hurricanes and tropical systems are bad. Don't get me wrong, but this was awful down in Louisiana. It was awful. So, all right, a couple things further to report this morning. The Windstar Cruises. Some of you may or may not be, aware of Windstar. It's a line that operates a fleet of small luxury ships. They have 6 yachts. They carry 148 to 310 guests. They cruise to 50 nations, calling on 150 ports throughout Europe, the South Pacific, Caribbean, and Central America. They have canceled everything for the remainder of 2020. And on the same line of that, Carnival's Australian division has canceled additional sailings. Both the Carnival Spirit and the Carnival Splendor were scheduled to resume cruising from Australia on the 29th of October, but given the ongoing crisis around the world, the ships will not welcome passengers until at least December 2nd. So more cancellations, suspension of operation from Windstar and a couple more from Carnival. Now, most of you remember when the Maasdam and the Veendam left Holland America. It was part of a 4-package deal, and we know about 2 of the cruise ships where they were going, but we never knew anything about Maasdam and the Veendam, and sort of we still don't. However, Cruise Harbor News is reporting that the Maasdam has been renamed Aegean Myth, and photos posted online show the new name being painted on the ship. Recently, the Maasdam's twin, the MS Veendam, was renamed Aegean Majesty. The buyers of the ship are still unknown and have yet to be disclosed. Now, I don't know why nobody's taken credit for this, but they aren't. However, it's believed that the 2 ships will be used for a new operation targeting the Greek market. Both ships will be registered in Hamilton, Bermuda. So that's the Maasdam and the Veendam. It looks like if you want to sail the Greek islands on a former Holland America ship, you can do so on one of those 2 boats. So the other thing this morning, again, a line that many of you probably know very little about, the SilverSea. The new ship, the Silver Moon, is one step closer to welcoming the cruise line's guests, having successfully carried out their sea trials this past week, carrying a reduced crew of approximately 320. They've developed the necessary health protocols. The ship journeyed between Fincantieri Shipyard and Conda and Trieste, Italy, undergoing a week-long dry dock period in Trieste. With the delivery set for October 30th, the Silver Moon will become the second ship to join SilverSea's ultra-luxury fleet in 2020, following delivery of the Silver Origin back in the first part of June. So, primarily a European operation, but we're learning more and more about stuff in Europe now, folks. So that's it for news today. There wasn't a whole lot of news out there, thank goodness. Which is fine with me. All right, let's go see what we got over here in chat. Let's see. I got down through. Let's see. Jason, Sonny, Amy, Tom, Gretchen. We said, get Bruce on the show. Yeah, Emily has been asking me about that too. I asked Bruce about a month ago to come on and let's talk about his stock market show, because that's a little different than Bruce's normal show. And he said at that time that he wasn't ready to really start talking about it and promoting it. So I need to talk to Bruce again about coming on the to do a little chat. So whether it's on, the live from Virginia show or the live from London show, it doesn't matter. We'll go either way. But yeah, you're right on that one, Jason. I need to get Bruce to come over and appear on one of these days. Nikki says, hello. Good morning, Nikki. Good to see you. And Emily's with us up in New York. It's going to be wet on up there, Emily, today, if it's not already. Gretchen says she's wondering what Emily's up to. She was watching the launch on the tube and there were flames at the bottom of the rocket. So she was watching the launch this morning, as was Tom live. He's down in Florida, right near the launch pad there. I've mentioned this before. That's all the times I've been to Florida and in and around. I've sailed a bunch of cruises from Port Canaveral. I've never been there for a launch, and that's on the bucket list. One of the things that I want to do one of these days is be down there for a launch. Nikki says, Emily and Tom, we are considering going to see the Falcon Heavy launch next month. September is hurricane season 2, so I don't know. Yeah, all this crap with weather. We're not even into the heart of hurricane season yet. I hope you get to go. Nikki says, Gretchen. Emily says she's good. Went to annual inspector class, of which we get paid. Woo, woo. Good for you. Let's see. Tom says, I'm posting the video now. At about 1 minute and 30 seconds, you can see the engines ignite, maybe not fully. Okay, so there's a video up on TWB Facebook page, so you guys can check that out from Tom. Tom says we had 2 more launches scheduled for Sunday, but one will be delayed due to conflict with the rocket on the pad that didn't go today. All right. Sonny said, where'd you post the video? Hopefully they'll figure out the problem with the launch and we'll see it later. And Tom is down there for 9 more days. Would you sail on SilverSea's cruise line, Chillie? Good question. I've never priced it out. I don't know a whole lot about it other than they've got a couple new ships. I have invited the SilverSea folks to appear on one of the shows, and we don't have a date yet, but hopefully we will have them on one of the shows soon, and I can give you a better answer to that one, because quite frankly, at this point, I don't know. I don't know enough about them. So as a general rule now, I used to be, I always thought Carnival, and then I'd worry about anything else. And as now I've tried expanding my horizons, and now I don't care. If it's a boat, I'm going to get on it. So, we're even looking at Pete and John and I have been talking about maybe doing one of the Katarina lines before the 2 Norwegian cruises that we're doing in Europe next October, which that would be a totally different world for me and one of the small ships. But we really like Daniel. Daniel was great and did a wonderful job, and I'm really curious about getting on one of those small ships now. So we'll see. Emily says it's rained a bit. We're supposed to be getting a storm today. From Laura. Yep. Yeah, this is all up and down the East Coast. Well, you're far north that it's the rain that came across the north central part of the country is merging with the subtropical Laura. So yeah, I don't know if it's which part of it you got, but all this rain up and down the East Coast is related in some way or another to Laura, and it's going to be gone. Yeah, it's going to be out to sea by tomorrow, out of here. But there could be some dicey weather left yet today, especially where you are, Emily, because up the 95 corridor, it looks to me like that could go all the way up virtually to Canada with some really heavy stuff as it moves across, and it's almost like a straight line kind of look to it. So you could have a pretty dicey a little bit later on today. Tom says, Sonny, it's posting a process now. Videos take a while. It'll be on Travel with Bruce Facebook page. Sonny says, thanks, Tom. Are the cats behaving? Yeah, as a matter of fact, the cats has been funny, Jason. Who was I talking to? It was after one of the shows this week. Oh, when maybe it was Allison. We were chatting after we went off the air. It might have been after the Rona Allison show. I can't remember which one. One of the cats actually came in here and jumped up to say hello. But usually when I've got the lights on in the studio, they don't come in here. Not like Brat the Cat did. Brat the Cat, he wanted to be in the middle of everything. But the kittens, for some reason, they don't care for the lights, I guess. So when they're on, very rarely are they in my room because they're in and out of here all the time. And are they behaving? Hell no. Two wild, crazy kittens they go nonstop until they die, and they lay down and sleep, and then they sleep for hours, and then they get up and start again and just go nonstop. So drives me crazy sometimes. Nikki said it's hard to plan a trip around a launch. Yeah, because they have to move them so often. John Reitmeyer from Crook, come on, tongue. He's up there in Minnesota. John's with us this morning. Glad you made it in, John. John's busy. Pete and I are neither one working, so we're semi-retired to retired. John's still working up there. He's got his farm, and he's out on a tractor a lot, and and still trying to play cruise stuff with us. So he, because several of the shows this week, he's made an appearance and said hello and had to go on to interviews and tractors and whatnots. So, but anyway, glad you're with us, John. Made it in this morning. Emily says, I'm interested in counter readership as well. We have really found them a fascinating company. We're talking to them about it because they're small. That maybe we can do a group kind of thing, because they got ships as small as like 14 people and 26 people and that kind of thing. So it's a whole different world. But I'm fascinated with Croatia and that area. Yeah, we're seriously looking at doing that. Sonny says, agree with Chillie. We'll get on any ship. Yeah. Tom says, I'm checking my NCL count today. Next cruise is tomorrow. Yeah. I guess that will pass. Yeah, I believe, Tom, you're not going to get on a ship tomorrow. No change on the 29th, November 29th cruise yet. Yeah, they haven't gone past the first of the month. Why? I still don't understand that. Unless they still have hopes of going on it. But then I've disagreed with them all along because I don't believe that they really had hopes of doing anything up until now, and probably up until the first of the year. But I could be wrong about that. So. Let's see. Emily says, Rona went back to Liverpool. Did you see her Facebook? Yeah. Rona is a huge Beatles fan. And the Cavern, which is the place the Beatles were discovered, and they performed in several times in Liverpool before they really became big. They, of course, have Beatle tribute artists there all the time, and they've been shut down because of the pandemic like everybody else. They reopened this weekend, so Rona went back to Liverpool for the reopening of the Cavern, and has been sitting around with an adult beverage or two, listening to Beatles music all weekend with her buddies there in Liverpool. I'm sure we will get some reports on that when she gets back. Guarantee it. She's a lovely Scottish lady. She and Allison both are terrific Scots, and they've now done several shows with me, which I enjoy immensely. I love to listen to them talk. I mean, I give Pete a hard time about talking funny. This Scottish folks, they talk real funny, but I love the brogue. I love that the way it sounds. So I enjoy them a lot. And by the way, those of you that, if you want to join us for the cocktail party today, there'll be a link on all over the place on Pete's page, my page. But please come in and join us. Usually the Scottish ladies are there. They're usually there for the cocktail party. And we do that at 4:00 my time, which would be 9:00 London time. And let's see, Pete told me it's not Greenwich time, it's summer England time or something like that. Because I always just say London time, and that's not the proper terminology for that anyway. Gretchen says she saw the Katrina docked in Trogir, Croatia. Awesome. I'm gonna get on one of those. Tom Henry says, what did Pete say in the interview? Did he post an apology? Sounds like I need to watch that video. It really wasn't an apology as such. Basically, what happened, there was a documentary in Great Britain about the cruise industry, and they interviewed a reporter from the Miami Herald that deals with travel industry and tourism in Florida. And the general feeling from a number of the folks in Great Britain was that this gal did a real hatchet job on the cruise industry about the coronavirus, and did a whole lot of blaming. Sounded like she was blaming the cruise industry for a good bit of the problems. Now, we all admit that there were problems in the cruise industry around coronavirus when it first started, but it was on a few ships. She was saying a fourth of the ships had problems. Well, I don't believe that. There's some 300 cruise ships out there. I don't think there was that many that had problems, but I don't have those facts at hand. But anyway, it just seemed like a hatchet job. Well, it turned out that she was our guest yesterday because I wanted to ask her. She was covering the Bahamas Paradise lawsuit, and that's why I asked her on. I did not know that she was the same person. Pete did not know it until an hour before the show, when we figured out that this was the same person that a good bit of the British Isle folks felt did a hatchet job on the cruise industry. And Pete asked her about it. And I thought he handled it comfortably. It was not an attack or anything. I did not feel that she was unduly broadsided. There were just good questions about her feelings about the cruise industry, of which she said, and part of it was that right now she wouldn't get on a cruise ship. Well, somebody that feels that negatively against the industry, I can understand that. She pretty much kind of showed her colors. So Pete it wasn't an entire apology as much as it was that I thought Pete handled it very well, and it asked some tough questions that needed to be asked when we discovered that this gal was the same one that had done a kind of a hatchet job. So that's where it stood. I thought Pete handled it as well as could be handled. He obviously was really upset about it. I did not see the show. I did not really know about it other than by hearing about it at the time. So then the hour before the show, when Pete and I get together and start comparing notes about what we're going to do and stuff, is where we discovered that this was the same person. Anyway, that all happened yesterday. So it kind of made for an interesting show. So you might want to go back and check it out. So anyway, that's what Pete was referring to, but that really wasn't an apology, and I don't think Pete needs to apologize. I just don't want him to, harp on it or, he made his point and we got along with him. She was a guest on the show and, we asked her Pete asked some tough questions. And I have no problem with that. So anyway, Jason says she probably works for Jim Walker. There's a prime example. Jim Walker has been around the cruise industry forever. And it just seems like every time the man opens his mouth, it's negative about the industry. And I never have understood that. Cindy has a friend on Mind Shift Cruise now. They seem to be cruising to nowhere. Somebody else, we just had somebody that maybe started following the Cruise Amigos, was on Mind Shift, and we're going to try to get a hold of them and talk to them about see what they're doing up there now. So Emily says Tom Henry, no issues. Everyone is negative. I don't know of any problems with the Mind Shift now. They had a problem before, but I haven't heard of anything recently. But yeah, they're at least sailing right now, so that's a good thing. So, all right, guys, this is going to wrap me up for today. I'm going to go rest my voice until the cocktail party tonight and watch it rain some more. I'll see you guys for the cocktail party tonight or tomorrow from London at 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Of course, 8 o'clock summer London time or whatever it is. So anyway, that's it for now, guys. As always, stay safe, wear your mask, socially distance if you can't stay at home and have to go out. Stay healthy and be good, and I'll talk to you soon, and we'll see everybody next Tuesday, if not before then. You guys have a great weekend. Watch out for the weather. Later, y'all.
Thank you for watching today's Travel and Cruise Industry News. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chillie's Cruises.